either way, we can still keep going and asking questions. Can you guys think of some questions? I'm going to try to think of some questions. I know, Donor, you also, Alexis is here too, right? Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. You both were great, by the way, the two actors. Fantastic. I love the film. And was this something you wrote? And was it part of like a feature film that you might have been working on, or was this specifically just to do a short?
Uh, Good question.
Be honest. Be honest.
I was the quick history behind it is I was looking for a job on Craigslist, and I came across a post that was offering $60,000 for an elite female athlete. And I'm not an elite female athlete, but I thought that was really fascinating. So I dug a little deeper and kind of found this whole world where there are beautiful 20-something women making tons of money selling their eggs. And I thought, first, that would be a really interesting film. So I did a lot of research, and I thought it could possibly be a feature. And I started sketching a feature, and the scene kind of grew out of that. I sent it to Carolina, just thinking, hey, we could shoot this like on a Saturday afternoon in somebody's apartment. It'd be really easy. And then Mark came on board, and Alexis came on board, and we rewrote the scene a little bit, and thought, hey, this might be able to stand on its own. And that's kind of how it happened. But
Yeah.
the world is so interesting, and I actually got in touch with a girl named, I'll call her Kay. I don't know what part of the country she's in, but she was really generous, giving me the whole kind of giving me access to that world, just via email, just answering like my questions in depth, because she makes a very good living selling her eggs. You can only donate, I think, up to 6 times, I believe, before you're 29 years old or something along those lines. But since she's had such a high, I forget what the term is, but it's like an attachment rate, meaning it's a successful pregnancy, she can get a lot of money for her eggs. So it's a really interesting piece of the world, and I just thought it'd be kind of cool to
That a lot of us don't know anything about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's huge.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. Are you thinking about developing it into a feature, or is?
Yeah. I kick around that idea every once in a while. I also think it'd make a cool web series. There's another web series, at least one that I know of, that's out there, with the same kind of topic. But yeah, I think it could be compelling. It's just it's such a deep world that I'm taking my time.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional ups and downs with something like that, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So tell us, well, both of you guys, I mean, either one of you, just tell us how you came up with your idea, or how you developed your movie, and why you made a short opposed to a feature, which is one of the most common questions I get. People are wondering, why are you guys making shorts?
I for a long time asked the same question of a lot of my friends that were making shorts, because the cost of making features is coming down, and there's seemingly so few places outside of festivals to get a short shown or appreciated, or just out there in general, except obviously the internet. And for a variety of reasons, one being we're trying to get a feature of the sleepover, of a version of the sleepover off the ground. We were like, all right, fine, let's do this. Let's try and see what happens. And we made the short, and it just went up online a few weeks ago. And I've turned around completely on the idea of making a short to move careers and projects forwards, because once the internet takes notice of something, it's nuts. We had a great festival run. We had a lot of fun at festivals, and this is a really cool festival. This is completely different than anything else that we played. But getting it on the internet as fast as possible, I think, is sort of the new thing to do with a short now, because you get it in front of so many more people, and really so many more influential people, than you can trying to go festival to festival to festival to festival, trying to.
And the idea is just to get as many eyes on it. Right?
Well, yeah, especially for a specific project, or to move anything, to kick the ball a little bit further down the field. You want to get it in front of an audience that'll enjoy it, but you also want to get in front of either producers or other people who can help with that. And the internet is, I think, a lot more of a useful tool, honestly, than taking it around the country and screening it 6 dozen times.
Well, I think the idea of something like this too is kind of the idea is to try to get a lot more people
Yeah, absolutely.
watching
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the whole world can see it now,
Right,
and
right.
that's just as a filmmaker and as someone who wants to tell a story and have people enjoy it, and to see suddenly people commenting, and you can watch the different parts of the world that are watching the film while you're sleeping, and then you get comments from the other side of the globe when you wake up in the morning, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think for me, I actually went to Princeton. I graduated as a politics major, and actually listened to a song by Adele called "Rolling in the Deep," and it uploaded a video to YouTube on one day, and then it went on to get about 4 million views. It's kind of a dance video, and I was getting Facebook messages and emails. Oh, not so much emails, but Facebook messages from people were moved by that video, and I decided to continue with that. And I listened to this live performance of "Someone Like You" by Adele before it was the album track was released, and I wrote this treatment in about 5 minutes while sobbing, and basically told about like a story very close to me in this treatment. And I was wondering, how am I going to do this? How am I going to tell this crazy story? And kind of decided to use the abstract of Facebook to tell this, and made this video that was designed to be shared on Facebook. So those screens fit flush in the feed. And I wanted to challenge users to, wanted to kind of break the narrative structure. A lot of music videos are spoon fed to people. And you can press pause and you can actually read these screens, because each school in the video, like Riverdale or Lower Marion High School, there's a difference. One's public, one's private, and it creates it's a whole, like you were talking about with Donor, it's a different world. But ultimately, that "Someone Like You" video went up in March 2011, and then went on to it has about 13.5 million views now. And my friend Jackson Greenberg, who graduated from Princeton this past year, rescored it, and that's what you guys saw here. He's at USC right now for film and television composition. And I guess there were a lot of I wanted to kind of share the video with a different light without the lyrics, and that's kind of what happened. And when I worked with Jackson, it happened over about 3 email sessions in about 5 days. And like you said, you want to get things up pretty soon. I'd just become a YouTube partner in June of 2011, and this was kind of one of my first debuts. Yeah, so I mean, in the trajectory was we have that video with 13.5 million views, but then we have this other video that ended up with about 120,000 views that was also monetized because the content became original, and that was really helpful when I moved here to LA last year, because through Google AdSense I was able to pay, half my rent a month when that the first video was pulling in, 150,000 views a day. And I think that is important, because the art should be sustainable. And that's what I ran into after being an artist for about 8 months, making a collection of music videos for nothing. I think that "Someone Like You" video, it cost about $150 to make, and that was like feeding the kids whenever I fed them. And so it's kind of one of those things. You want to get it out there and let the people see and move them. And the most powerful thing for me is getting messages through Facebook, saying, "Hey, I taught this in my media class or my International Baccalaureate program," and I think that sort of psychic income is very, very important.
Yeah, that's great. Jack, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Just unmuting myself.
Tell us about, I mean, tell us about your film, Empty Swan Song, and how, not only how did you film it, but a little more about how you came up with this idea.
Empty Swan Song, I guess it came from a dream originally, and I've been working with the main actor in that, Hong Yul, who's a very good pianist. Been working with him a lot, and I think it must have just gone into the subconscious somehow. And I had this dream about this guy who played a piano that was kind of deflating and collapsing on itself. And when I woke up, I was like, oh, that's a good idea to make. But thinking about it a bit more academically, it's probably something to do with being a migrant and, fish out of water a little bit, as a lot of people feel, when they're alone in a different country, or just finding themselves in a new place. But that's probably where the original idea came from. And to shoot it, I decided not to get too much into CG, because I had a kind of rejection of all these special effects that are coming out these days. It seems so much easier and so much more accessible to get computer generated effects, and everyone seems to be doing it with Video Copilot, and you just stick it in, and it's like you do a fireball or something. It's really simple. But I've always been in love with old school George Lucas style of really practical effects and things that are done in camera, and they feel more real. So the piano itself was a piano that we built out of paper, and we just rigged it up with some kind of crank system, and we only had one shot at it, basically, because the piano itself cost a few $1,000s just to make. And so that's how we did it. Half of the film was a real piano, which we played, and then we swapped it out when we needed to do our money shot. Yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. Yeah.
Are you reaching us from New Zealand right now?
Yeah, no Hobbit questions, please, because I have no idea what's going on there.
We would spare you that. But what time is it there right now? I'm just curious.
7:10, almost dinner time.
Oh, in the evening. Okay, great.
In the evening, yeah.
Okay.
We're a day ahead of you, I think.
Oh, you mean you're a time traveler?
This is Sunday, December the 2nd.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So way ahead of you guys.
That's amazing. Do we have any other questions from the audience, please? Yes, back there. Was any of the dialogue improv'd?
Not on the day. No, we worked several times beforehand, and based on his script, and then we workshopped it several times. And at the end of the day, you delivered the script, I think, the week before. After the final notes, and they were right on. They never improv'd on set. I wouldn't let them. No, I mean they could have, but they didn't. They brought it all to life.
Any other questions? Yes, right here.
Yeah, I shot the film at Princeton. Yeah.
The question was, just want to repeat it for people that are not able to hear him. He's asking, was it easy for him to shoot the film at Princeton and getting permission to do that?
Permission? Who gets permission?
Is there a lawyer in the house?
It was easy for me, because it was just me and a glide cam and a Panasonic DVX 100. And I would I've always, at that time, I was aiming to shoot things kind of Dog Me 95 style. So I knew when I would shoot, I'd have no color correction to do. I would just shoot and have kind of raw clips, and I would just tell
no lighting.
No, yeah, all natural lighting, and I'd kind of explain the scene to the actors, and I'd say, kind of block them, and then we just run it, and I'd just have that glide cam and just follow, and we just run it a few times, and then other times, especially like for the dorm room scenes, they were dorm rooms of students that I knew. And then we did a little bit of production design, because there's quite a few movie posters in there. I think like Memento, City of God, and there's a James Dean poster, and all those posters were like added to kind of be a sort of sublime or subconscious, trigger the subconscious, and speak more on the idea of film and storytelling and whatnot. But anyway, so yeah, it was easy because it was just me, and I was kind of
gunning.
I was running and gunning, and I would like stuff it in my bag and like roll into the library and be like, hurry,
that's not a camera.
I know, no, it's not at all. But yeah, it was, and so the production was basically that camera, and it was really helpful.
I think a lot of us shoot like that. I don't know. A lot of filmmakers do these days.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that at that time I was working on DV, and I've kind of moved on to shooting on SD cards, and it's a lot easier, but it's so much easier. But the cool thing was, because I didn't have any budget, because I was the producer, I could sit down in a bedroom with the two, and for example the two male actors, and we shot for like an hour just straight, interacting, and ultimately ended up being like 10 seconds in there, but to get them to that point where it was just real. And I think James Dean has this quote, and I'm paraphrasing it, but basically says like, you can't show this idyllic conception of the world. You really just need to show the kids like what it's actually like, and that one's for the kids. So yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Yes. The question is how was it working with the children in the sleepover, and how it would probably have been the coolest movie to make if you were a kid. So
I think the kids thought it was the coolest movie to make. I don't know if their parents were quite as pleased. It was. I mean, it was. There's. I learned, I think, more about directing working with those two kids than I have maybe in any of the classes I ever took or book I have, because they're just, kids are so kind of, first of all, they were great. They were great actors, and we had a casting session, and the kid Josh in the pajamas we cast right away when he did his audition, because he nailed it. And it took us a while to find Gus, the other kid, but they're just so imaginative, and they're so willing to just believe. And I think you hear that a lot from people who have worked with kids. And you have to hope that the kids are willing to believe what you want them to believe, and they're not going somewhere else with it. But it was awesome to watch them work. Gus kept asking when he was going to get killed. That was his number one concern all weekend. And then having parents around that were luckily not crazy stage parents. They were very understanding. They were in the room for all of it, and I felt a little uncomfortable being like, "Call him a pussy" again in front of parents. But they knew what the script was. We didn't surprise them with it or anything. They were cool with it, and it was. I think they both realized it was cool for their kids to. Josh is just in Santa Paws 2 or Santa Buddies 2 or something, and that's a lot of what they do. And I think they enjoyed getting to work on something else that wasn't a kid's movie per se. So being a little boy is about being gross and weird sometimes.
yeah,
so.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. Gus had to just enjoy the hell out of all the blood coming out of his mouth and stuff.
Yeah, it was I mean, it was a really fun shoot. So.
And you guys did that in a weekend? Is that what
Yes,
I heard
we
you
did
just
it.
say?
We did it in a weekend in my apartment in our living room. We built the bedroom set because we needed a little more space, because it turns out a red camera on a dolly on track takes up way more space than most bedrooms have.
Usually you have to take a wall out or
Yeah.
something.
Well, we did it in a living room and put a fake wall in, was how we made the space for it. But yeah, we shot it in a weekend. The only trouble with the kids was that the first night they got really excited, so they stayed up all night playing Skyrim, and then the next morning they had not slept, so they were laying down all day and sleeping in the middle of takes.
Very exhausted.
And sorry about the color, by the way. I don't know why it was
I'm
doing
not
that,
sure what that was about. Yeah.
I don't know. It was not intentional.
No, I knew it wasn't. There it was something, and there was a buzz going on too. We're not sure about any of that stuff, but just the fact that we were able to do what we did.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good.
I'm pretty shocked at
Yeah.
that was the worst of it, actually. Is there any other questions? Okay, we'll take one more question. Yes. Jack Woon, where did you get the song in your film?
Oh, it's originally composed by the pianist himself, so we worked on that over a few weeks beforehand, and he came up with the song after workshopping it, basically.
Wow,
Yeah, he's
great.
very good, very talented composer.
Okay, well, it looks like I'm going to wrap it up because we need to get out of here. We really want to thank LA Film School for allowing us to have this here and hosting this event all day today. We've been camped out here today. And thanks again to all the filmmakers that have been involved. We really, really appreciate it. And yes, yes. If you go to ugpff.com, which stands for Unofficial Google Plus Film Festival acronym, you can get all the information that you need from there. Also, if you go to the Google Plus webpage for the Unofficial Google Plus Film Festival, there'll be a lot of stuff there as well. And I encourage all the filmmakers to make sure that you do post links to your work, your Twitter handles, anything that you'd like for us to promote and get out there so that people can connect with you. And we really want to encourage, everybody that is on G Plus, that we all circle each other and help each other whenever we can. As much as we can. If anybody wants to come to Asheville, North Carolina and film an Appalachian film, please, you're welcome into my neighborhood. And I have great actors here that would be available too. So, but thank you so much again. We really appreciate it. Let's give another, I want to welcome Adam up just really quick. Adam, please present yourself. Yay, he's ready to go. He's got his monitor in his hand.
Festival in a bag here.
This is the man behind this whole thing. I mean, really, he's truly the idea behind it. He's put enormous amount of energy into it, and it just, I'd really like for you to be able to say something. I feel bad.
I just seriously, thanks to everybody who's been involved in this. So many people, I can't name names because we'll go on too long. But seriously, it's all about the filmmakers and it's all about our community. So let's continue this. Let's continue getting to know each other, getting out of our editing bays and our writing blocks, and get together and network and talk to one another and help each other out and continue to make great content. And that's what I want to do, is I want to show the world all the great content that we are creating. And of course, that's what I love to do, is create content myself. So thank you again. And I think this has been a great success. I'm very happy with everything that we've seen today. So thank you, everybody.